Now we're into the segment that we like so much. It's called What's Up, Doc, where we spend some time with the experts. We at Mercy Health, we learn some things, and as we pointed out time and time again, they learned that maybe they shouldn't volunteer to come on radio shows.
Each time.
It all works out very, very nicely. We're going to talk about ways to keep your eyes healthy this morning, which is a great topic to get into, and we're going to do that with Dr. Benjamin Mathew. He's an ophthalmologist. Dr. Mathew, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
How are you this morning?
Oh, doing great, thank you. Wish the weather was warmer, but doing good otherwise.
Yeah, we do. We'll get there soon enough, and then we'll get into that. We wish it was a lot colder. You're an ophthalmologist. Tell me true or false on these. Somebody in my family shot me this when I told them we were going to talk to an ophthalmologist later. Average person blinks 12 times per minute, about 10,000 blinks in an average day.
You know what? That sounds perhaps correct. I would have to sit down and do the math. And believe it or not, I don't spend my day counting people's blinks. But that does sound. Yeah, I will seriously say people. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think people do need to blink more.
You have people for that. You're the doctor. You don't need to do that.
We delegate that.
Only 1/6 of the eyeball is exposed to the outside world.
You know what? That could be true. It's a lot of mathematical question. I need to draw it out into the geometry to figure it out exactly. But
and here's one more, and I love this one. The external muscles that move the eyes are the strongest muscles in the human body for the job they are tasked with doing. They are 100 times more powerful than they need to be.
Well, I don't know than they need to be, but they are very strong given their size. Yes, and. That probably is true. Where'd you get this information from?
This came from one of the kids, and it came from Princeton Eye Group.
Sounds good.
Yep.
I believe it.
And they point out that guys like you, ophthalmologists, are graduates of medical school, whereas optometrists are not.
Correct. Yeah, so we're ophthalmologists. We do the advanced medical, I would say, and then anything surgical. You go to an ophthalmologist, as you mentioned, as opposed to an optometrist, which does a little bit more of the glasses, contact lenses, and some medical as well.
Sure. Well, now we jumped the gun a little bit. Normally, we look for a little bio here. Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. So I'm, as you mentioned, I'm a physician who did a residency program. So that's after medical school in ophthalmology, so eye surgery and advanced eye care. And then I did a fellowship in pediatric ophthalmology up in Madison, and then came to Mercy Health about 6 years ago, and I've been enjoying it ever since. And so my practice primarily is general ophthalmology, which and pediatric ophthalmology, which I could go to.
One test that all of our guests have to pass with me, at least, is if I approve of where you went, did your undergrad. Where did we do our undergrad?
My undergrad was in Montreal, Canada, but don't ask me to speak French.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
see, you were about to do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I was. Yeah, I have no opinion of the University of Montreal, so.
Okay. Actually, there's two. There's an English one and a French one. McGill's English if you know Montreal, and then there's a University de Montréal. That's French. So I wouldn't know French if I went to that one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which might be counterproductive to our entire interview.
If you want, I can switch into French for the rest of the interview.
What you see? What issues are brought before you when you see patients the most?
Sure. So stepping back, so as a general ophthalmologist, I see all general ophthalmologists typically see things like cataract surgery, or listeners may have probably heard of that, or know someone who's had cataract surgery, glaucoma, macular degeneration. These are all common general ophthalmology things we see. And then being one of the few pediatric ophthalmologists in this area, we treat premature kids in the NICU. They need eye exams, and we follow them. Say 1-year-old kids who are tearing, 2-year-old kids who need glasses, and older ones who may need eye muscle surgery, going back to the eye muscles you mentioned. So that, and then we also see adults who have, say, something called strabismus, so misalignment of the eyes, so again, relating to the eye muscles.
Strabismus? What was that?
The term is strabismus. It's, I think, either Latin or Greek for squid. Basically, if the eyes are not aligned, it falls, so someone you may hear like walleye or cross eyes, that all falls under strabismus. And a lot of kids have it, and we treat that. And some adults, they never got it treated as a child, or else they develop later on in life, and we treat that as well.
But there is help for that.
There is, yeah. A lot of adults actually don't. I sometimes walk around see, guys, it's my job. I notice it. And,
Sure.
I try not to point it out to people when I see them, outside of the hospital. But a lot of people don't realize there is actually treatment for that. Many times patients come in, they say they were told there's no treatment for, not always, but a lot of times there is for misaligned eyes, strabismus, yes.
And I've got to believe it's life-changing for the person who undergoes successful treatment for that.
Very much so, yeah. I think they're very happy. Actually, a lot of eye surgery patients are very happy, patients who had cataract surgery as well. But I think it's strabismus particularly because they've lived many years, with misalignment of the eyes. And obviously it's people notice that and comment on it, or, so they finally have their eyes straightened out, whether as an adult or a child, is really satisfying, and patients really enjoy it, appreciate it.
Doctor, I think, and feel free to yell at me for this, because
no, seriously, do feel free.
It's fine, because Ralph knows where I'm going with this. I've been blessed. Won the genetic lottery, I think, with my eyes. I've never had any problems with it. I don't.
And yet he engages in idiotic behavior with them.
I see as perfectly as I think I need to see. I've never been to the eye doctor, and I know I should. Tell
them about the sunglasses too.
I don't wear sunglasses either. What risks am I taking as a 41-year-old person that sees, very well, have no issues with my eyes? What risks am I taking over these 41 years of not going to an eye doctor?
Let him have it, Dr. Mathew.
Sure. Well, I think maybe starting from, early on, all people should have an eye exam, at least some sort of an eye exam, say before 3 years of age. The American Academy of Ophthalmology has guidelines. We want to pick up really small kids. Pediatrician can do it, or there's different screening devices. Because small kids, if they have certain eye conditions, it can be treated when they're small. You may have heard of people call it like lazy eye, but amblyopia, for example. We want to treat them when they're young. So you need an eye exam when you're small. And then the state of Illinois has a requirement. All kids entering kindergarten should get an eye exam from an eye doctor. Not necessarily an ophthalmologist, but an optometrist or an ophthalmologist, someone who can look and assess if the eye is normal. And then once that's done, then, the main issue that you're dealing with, assuming that's normal, is glasses, refractive error, so nearsightedness, myopia, for example. Assuming, of course, you're healthy and you don't have any medical issues. If you're like a type 1 diabetic, you still need yearly eye exams. And then once you hit 40, that age, you should start thinking about getting eye exams. Presbyopia, that's where people have difficulty reading. You should probably see an optometrist, get, maybe, I think the American Academy of Ophthalmology says after 40, maybe every 4 years, get an eye exam. And then it starts to increase after that, because then the incidence of eye diseases will start to increase. So say in the 50s, I think maybe 2 to 3 years. In the 60s, every 1 to 2 years. But again, that all varies depending on your health. If you have high blood pressure, diabetes, or your family history, there's a lot of genetic family history eye diseases that can be passed on. So overall, it's I think it's very common. If you're seeing well, and that patients don't get routine eye exams until their 40s, but you should start thinking about it now.
It's kind of like the same thing of when's the last time you went to the doctor? Well, when was the last time I was sick?
Yeah. I think sometimes people are surprised. It's not bad to get an eye exam. I remember the first time I got glasses. I was I probably went maybe 2 years walking around with blurry vision until someone put glasses on me. And but I think in the 40s when people, if they've done well and they've they have no eye issues, generally healthy, is when you should start thinking about getting a more regular eye exam. Again, you don't necessarily need to see an ophthalmologist. You can even see an optometrist.
I really like the fact that the doctor waited 2 years past when he should have gone. It makes me feel better about my decisions.
I'm sure that's what he was going for.
It was.
I just remember that mine was, I was having difficulty that I realized my arms weren't long enough. And I'm trying to read, and if I could just hold that paper out just another foot or two, it would have been a lot easier to read. But instead of arm lengthening, I went to my optometrist, who said, how old are you? And I said, well, I'm 42. He said, well, you have 42-year-old eyes. It might be time to go with some sort of readers to help you in that direction.
Correct.
And it really has made all the difference in the world. Now I have 500 pairs scattered throughout the house and office, but nonetheless, vision is much better. And that's something that people shouldn't look at as being something necessarily wrong with you. It's part of the aging process, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. Just a lot of the diseases we deal with are not just age-related. Cataracts, by the most part, are age-related. What you mentioned, presbyopia, that's the normal age-relating process. Unfortunately, there's nothing to reverse that as of yet. So you do need to, be screened and start getting screened in your 40s. And as mentioned, when they're really small, kids do need an eye exam because they won't complain. They won't tell you, obviously, you can't see. But again, a lot of preventable or treatable diseases will be picked up when they're really small.
So other than maybe turning 40 or like Riley's arms not long enough, is there any other signs that's going on with your eyes that maybe you do need to go get it checked out?
The obvious ones, if you have blurry vision, slow onset or particularly sudden onset of blurry vision, definitely I would do that, get an eye exam. I think sudden onset, you probably want to see an ophthalmologist for that. Double vision. If you have a family history, again, if you have a parent who's had macular degeneration, you want to get an eye exam. A lot of these, you may not necessarily pick up, so getting a routine eye exam will hopefully pick that up. Or if you have diseases, certain eye diseases, if you're on certain medications, you may need to be screened, and hopefully your primary care physician will set you up for that. So,
go in that direction. Those are some of the flags that go up on that one. Now, for people who are listening this morning going, well, maybe that fits me. How do people get in touch with and make an appointment to see you?
Well, you could probably just call Mercy Health and get you referred over if you want to see an ophthalmologist. I think if you're having trouble getting in, we have a lot of great optometrists that can screen. And again, a lot of it's a little bit of a blurry line between optometry and ophthalmology, other than that we do the surgical side of things exclusively. But I think if you need a routine eye exam, and for the reasons mentioned, you're in your 40s, you haven't been seen, or you think you may have a cataract, or your vision's a little blurry. You may not necessarily need to be seeing a surgeon right away. Just call us up, and we have 3 optometrists here that'd be happy to see you. But if you know you have an eye condition that needs to be treated by a surgeon, then definitely give a call.
Outstanding. Dr. Mathew, thanks a lot for taking time out of your day for us. This was very educational, and, that's our goal each time, is to walk away from these interviews having learned things. We learned a bunch of things from you, so thanks a lot for your time.
I appreciate it. I learned a little bit from you, too, about those first 3 questions. I'm going to go look into that.
Please do. Dr. Mathew, have a great rest of your day. Thank you.